What if a single strand of human hair, just one, incredibly thin fiber, could fundamentally rewrite centuries of history and challenge everything we thought we knew about, well, about an ancient empire? Today, we're taking a deep dive into the mysterious world of Inca khipus. You know, those intricate knotted cords. They serve as this unique form of record keeping for one of the greatest civilizations in the Americas.
Yeah.
Really enigmatic things.
Absolutely. And for a very long time, the prevailing wisdom, mostly coming from Spanish colonial records,
Yeah.
was that these complex devices were exclusively made and understood by an elite class of male bureaucrats. These guys, the khipukamayuqs, they were seen as high-status individuals, the only ones supposedly with the literacy to handle these sophisticated records. And they enjoyed a diet, rich in meat and maize.
Yeah.
The good stuff.
Right, the elite diet. But now there's this remarkable new discovery. It's centered around one specific khipu, quite unassuming, really, and some cutting-edge scientific analysis. And it's basically thrown that entire narrative into question. So let's unpack the sources you've provided and explore this groundbreaking finding and what it means for how we understand Inca society and knowledge. Okay, so maybe let's start with the basics. What is a khipu exactly?
Right. So picture a device made of meticulously knotted and braided strings. It's quite intricate.
Okay.
The anthropologist Sabine Hyland, she encountered the khipu we're focusing on. It's designated KH0631. And she described it as beautifully made with fine braiding and variation in cord size.
Mm-hmm.
She apparently thought, this is so beautiful, it must be royal. That was her first impression.
Interesting. So high quality.
Very. But the thing is, it's incredibly rare to actually connect these ancient records, these khipus, to the specific people who made them. Most of the ones we have, they either come from looted tombs or, they're museum pieces, and nobody knows exactly where they came from originally.
Ah, so the context is lost.
Precisely.
Right.
That link between the object and the maker is usually severed.
Which is why this khipu, KH0631, is so compelling, right?
Exactly. It surfaced at a German auction, didn't have much documentation with it, but radiocarbon dating, that placed it around AD 1498, smack bang in the middle of the Inca Empire's height.
Wow. Okay.
But here's the really astonishing part. The primary cord, the main string it's all attached to, it wasn't made of cotton or wool.
No. What then?
Human hair.
Human hair? Seriously?
Seriously. A single strand, incredibly long, 104 centimeters, carefully folded in half and then twisted together.
Wait, 104 centimeters folded? That's a lot of hair.
It represents over 8 years of hair growth from one single person.
8 years? Good grief. That's dedication.
It is. And it immediately tells us something really significant about Andean traditions. Hair wasn't just, hair. It held immense symbolic importance. Attaching your hair to a khipu wasn't just practical, it signaled authorship.
Authorship, like signing your name.
In a way, yes. It carried the essence of the individual, signifying responsibility for whatever information that khipu held. Like Sabine Hyland noted, for someone to sacrifice that much hair, it must have been something pretty special.
So it wasn't just material, it was deeply personal. Like an ancient ID card woven in.
You could almost think of it like that, yeah.
Yeah.
A very personal signature.
Okay, so this khipu has a piece of the maker literally woven into it.
Yeah.
How on earth do you figure out what that person ate 500 years ago from just hair?
Well, that's where the really cool science comes in, the breakthrough. Researchers use a technique called elemental analysis, specifically isotope ratio mass spectrometry, on a tiny sample of that hair.
Isotopes. Right, so like chemical signatures.
Exactly. Think of it like this. The food you eat leaves distinct chemical fingerprints in your body tissues, including your hair as it grows. By analyzing different elements, carbon, nitrogen, sulfur scientists can essentially reconstruct a person's diet over the period that hair grew.
So what do those specific elements tell you?
Well, carbon and nitrogen isotopes, they help figure out how much protein someone ate and whether it came from, say, land animals versus marine life. They can also distinguish between different types of plants, like C3 plants, which include things like potatoes, tubers, quinoa, greens, versus C4 plants, like maize or corn.
Maize being a key elite food.
A very key status food, yes.
Yes.
And sulfur isotopes. They're great for telling marine diets apart from terrestrial ones and can even act as a kind of geolocation marker. And then you've got oxygen and hydrogen isotopes, which can give clues about the altitude and region where the person lived based on the water they drank.
That is incredible. So what was the aha moment with KH0631's hair? What did the fingerprints show?
The analysis revealed a diet overwhelmingly dominated by tubers and greens, those C3 plants.
Tubers and greens.
Okay. Very little meat, and crucially, very little maize, almost none.
No maize. Interesting.
And also, no sign of fish, which strongly suggests this person lived inland, far from the coast. The oxygen and hydrogen isotopes back that up, pointing to life in the highlands, probably somewhere between 2,600 and 2,800 meters, maybe southern Peru or northern Chile.
Okay, hang on. Tubers and greens, little meat, no maize, highlands.
Doesn't sound like an elite khipukamayuqs, does it?
Not at all. That sounds like, well, like a commoner's diet, based on what we thought we knew.
Precisely. It's highly characteristic of low-ranking commoners in the Inca world, a stark contrast to the high-status foods. Loads of meat, loads of maize, especially the chicha, the maize beer, so central to Inca ceremonies.
Which the elites would have definitely consumed.
It's hard to imagine an elite official, a khipukamayuqs, avoiding those foods, even for ritual fasting. It just doesn't fit the profile we had.
And there was more, wasn't there? Something about different periods and age.
Right, because the hair was folded, the sample effectively represented two different time periods in the person's recent life. And there were subtle variations in nitrogen and sulfur, suggesting maybe seasonal changes in how much meat they ate. Not much, but some fluctuation.
Uh-huh.
And they also found some white hairs mixed in.
Ah, indicating they were older.
Likely elderly, yes. So an older individual living in the highlands, eating a commoner's diet, who made this beautiful, intricate khipu.
So what does this actually tell us then about Inca society, this one finding?
It's huge, really. It directly challenges centuries of assumptions based mainly on those Spanish accounts.
It suggests commoners weren't just passive subjects, but were actively involved in making these complex records.
Exactly. It strongly suggests commoners participated in khipu production. And that means khipu literacy, the ability to make and understand these things, was likely far more inclusive, much more widespread than we previously assumed.
It just completely rewrites that narrative of it being this tiny, exclusive male elite club.
It cracks it wide open. And, this discovery, it connects really nicely with some historical counter-evidence that maybe didn't get enough attention before.
Like what?
Well, there was an indigenous chronicler, Felipe Guaman Poma de Ayala. He wrote after the Spanish conquest, and he actually claimed that women also made quipus.
Women! The Spanish accounts didn't mention that, did they?
Not really. They focused on the male khipukamayuqs. But Guanampoma specifically said women made quipus for the regional Inca Aclawasi. These were the houses of chosen women. They used quipus there to keep track of personnel, supplies, goods.
So there was already a historical hint that it wasn't just elite men.
A hint, yes. Kind of like whispers in the historical record that science is now amplifying.
And isn't there some archaeological evidence, too?
Yes. Backing this up, there was a burial, Grave K, at a site called Soniche. They found the remains of a young woman, maybe early 20s, buried with quipus.
A woman buried with quipus.
Initially, because of the old assumptions, some thought it must be a misidentified male elite specialist. But no, it was a young woman. It really corroborates Guamanpoma's claim about women makers.
So we have Guamanpoma's account, the woman in Grave K.
And there are other elite burials, like one at Armatambo, that showed local elites, not just the top imperial officials, also made quipus. But the key difference with K80631 is the diet. Those other examples were still elites of some kind.
Right. But the hair in K80631 points to a commoner, someone from a completely different social stratum being involved.
Precisely. It's a powerful demonstration, really. How just one artifact, one fresh text, as scholars might call it, like K80631, how it can fundamentally alter our understanding of something as basic as who was literate, who held knowledge in an ancient society.
It shows how even the tiniest detail, a strand of hair, can carry immense historical weight. So wrapping this up then, what does this all mean for you, our listener?
Well, I think this deep dive really highlights how cutting-edge science, when applied to, even an overlooked detail like a single hair, can fundamentally shift our view of an entire civilization. It tells us that this complex system of record-keeping, the khipu, it wasn't just locked away with a privileged few. It was likely a much broader, more inclusive practice within the Inca Empire than we ever thought.
Yeah, it's such a powerful reminder, isn't it, that history is rarely as neat or monolithic as we sometimes imagine it. The stories of ordinary people, people whose diets didn't involve much meat or maize, those stories, once we find a way to access them, can hold the keys. They unlock these deeper, maybe more accurate truths about the past.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with a really interesting question to ponder, doesn't it, for you listening? In our own world today, which is just saturated with information, what long-held assumptions are just sitting there, quietly waiting for maybe one single small piece of evidence, perhaps from an unexpected source, to completely upend them? what overlooked details might hold the next big historical revelation.